It's extremely difficult. I feel like I let my teammates down tonight.
The roaring crowds at Empower Field had long since dispersed into the freezing Saturday night air in Denver, leaving the Buffalo Bills to face an ending that felt like a recurring nightmare. In the silence, Josh Allen stood solitary in the eye of the storm, no tantrums, no finger-pointing at officials or his squad, just existing. In that moment, eyes bloodshot and voice trembling, delivering the gut-wrenching confession that haunts the fan base. I failed. My brothers today. Outsiders cannot comprehend the toll this game takes on your soul. You pour your entire existence into this, waking up every morning with a singular obsession. You sacrifice time with your actual kin only to realize your teammates have become the family you bleed for during the grueling season. So when you finally reach this precipice, the pressure is suffocating because the whole world is on your shoulders. The narrative was set. The wins are on the quarterback, the losses are on the quarterback. Mahomes is gone, Burrow is out. There are no excuses left. I try to ignore the noise and focus on the team, knowing our roster isn't as stacked as others. But we fight to this spot, I make the perfect throw, and the officials rob us blind like to that. I am getting sick of this league, man. I am exhausted by these zebras deciding the outcome. Seriously, we need to print shirts that say, "Nobody cares about the refs." Do you feel me? It is absolute madness. I am sitting on my couch screaming at the TV, asking what on earth is happening. Brother, wait a minute. I am at home wondering where the integrity went? That sequence transcends the box score, matters more than the turnovers or that disputed interception in overtime. It wasn't just a defeat, it was the spiritual collapse of a franchise savior who has hauled this organization up the mountain for nearly 10 years and is finally buckling under the strain. The ball hits his shoulder, he secures it, and hits the turf. That is a completion. That is a catch. Point blank, that is a catch. The rulebook says simultaneous possession belongs to the offense. At the very least, pause the game and look at the replay for 3 or 5 minutes. You battle through 19 brutal weeks just to have your fate sealed by a blown call in overtime? We are. In the extra period, and the officials just hand the win to the Broncos. For the love of the sport, review the play. Tie goes to the runner, and we clearly saw Cooks pin that ball against the ground. It was a 50-50 ball that needs to be ruled a completed pass. Josh Allen is the league's reigning most valuable player. He tossed for 283 yards and 3 scores. He added another 66 with his legs. He dragged Buffalo into overtime in a contest where they should have been dead in the water. Yet, the result is the same. Buffalo is packing their bags. No championship, no conference title, no glory. Just another winter defined by what-ifs. Eventually, falling short stops looking like misfortune and starts looking like a fundamental flaw. Let us be honest. This defeat wasn't entirely on the quarterback, but for the first time in his postseason career, he wasn't innocent either. 4 giveaways, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. 3 of those errors gifted points to Denver in a razor-thin loss. Those blunders cast a long shadow. Allen feels that weight. That is the source of his tears. That is why he apologized before anyone else could point a finger. But look, the Broncos took the win. We have to have a serious conversation about number 17. Oh, we absolutely need to discuss Josh Allen. Listen, 4 out of 5, he was responsible for 4 of the team's 5 total turnovers. You cannot ignore 2 picks and 2 fumbles. Why is he running with the rock loose? Like that? Come on, brother. He knows better. You have to slide or get out of bounds. Take a knee and get yourself into the locker room. He thinks he can outrun everyone, but he forgot the defenders are fast. 2. He is out there carrying the football like a loaf of sourdough bread. This was supposed to be their year. I said it repeatedly. The boogeyman, Patrick Mahomes, wasn't in his way. He didn't have to face Lamar Jackson. He didn't have to face Joe Burrow. He was the superior talent remaining in the conference. I get it. He is better than Stroud. He is better than Drake May. He was the best quarterback left in the bracket, and he absolutely choked. Exactly. And I laid this out for you right when the season kicked off. But we have to face the ugly reality that Buffalo ignores. Josh Allen should not need to be flawless just for this squad to scrape out a win. Yet that is the only thing Buffalo demands of him. Every single week, year after year, January after January, this matchup was the ultimate proof of the Bills' broken system. The defense gave up 30-plus points for the fifth time this year. The secondary was absolutely carved up. The pass rush vanished. They simply could not get a stop. Bo Nix, a sophomore quarterback in his first-ever playoff chase, walked right into that arena and lit up the scoreboard against a Bills unit that was hyped as championship caliber. And when the defense collapsed, the strategy was the same as always. Josh, save us. That is the doomed cycle Buffalo is trapped in. Josh Allen, even while losing today, threw 14 completions on 16 attempts with a 133 rating and 3 scores. He was 90% of the Bills' offense. A LeBron-like performance, going 5 for 5 and accounting for 65 of 66 yards on the go-ahead drive, fighting from behind. In hostile territory, leaning entirely on one man is a blueprint for failure. Look, Josh Allen is the greatest football talent I have ever witnessed. I put him above Elway. I rank him higher than Marino. I believe he is more gifted than Mahomes. Forget superheroes, he is Zeus. He stands as a god amongst mortals. It is a completely different stratosphere of talent. And by the way, he was evaluated for a concussion. He tweaked his knee. He was nowhere near 100% healthy, and he still drags them to a win in Jacksonville. Look at the landscape. This was the season. Patrick Mahomes sat out the postseason. Lamar Jackson missed the cut. Joe Burrow was watching from home. For the first time in the Allen era, the road to the AFC title was wide open. No dynasty, no rival MVP blocking the path. Just pure opportunity. And yet, Buffalo could not cash the check because you have zero margin for error when your quarterback is your entire offense, your identity, your crisis team, and your miracle worker all at once. Allen made blunders, sure, but he was forced to carry the world. When he tripped, there was no safety net to catch him. The supporting cast told the tragic tale. James Cook showed up. The rest were ghosts. Allen's second most targeted receiver was Brandon Cooks, a guy they signed in late November. That is not a championship attack. That is survival mode. That is duct tape and prayers wrapped around a superstar's arm. And when the moment came, in overtime, ball in. Hand, season on the line, Allen did what he has always asked to do. He tried to be Superman. He launched the deep ball. He trusted his guy. The throw was a hair short. The catch turned into a debate. The interception was upheld. Lights out. Buffalo fans will argue that call until the end of time. Was it a dual catch? Did Cook secure the ball? Was the replay booth too hasty? All valid questions. But here is the cold truth. Buffalo never should have needed a miracle to save their season, because the game was slipping away long before overtime. The fumble before the half was a disaster. The strip sack to start the third quarter was a backbreaker. Those are the plays that lose playoff games, and Allen owned every bit of it. He didn't hide. He didn't blame others. He put it all on his own shoulders, because that is his nature. But that is exactly the problem. His leadership is ironclad. His excess toughness is the stuff of legend. His teammates would die for him. Just listen to that locker room. Dawson Knox defending for him while choking back tears. Deion Dawkins insisting the team failed Allen, not the reverse. Mitch Trubisky wishing they could do more for him. That is not a fractured team. That is the sound of a locker room that knows its leader is being crushed by the burden. Eventually, even the man of steel bleeds. We are looking at 8 years of Josh Allen, 8 postseason runs, 8 heartbreaks. And before you rush to blame the refs or bad luck, realize this. Buffalo has had time. They have had chances. They have had stability. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have spent a decade building this team in their own image. And the result is identical, a flawed roster begging an elite quarterback to mask its structural rot. That formula flies in September. It survives in October. It might even work in December. But come January, against disciplined squads, against coordinators who mask their blitzes and force errors, it crumbles. The most haunting image from Saturday night was not the providing interception. It wasn't the fumbles. It was Josh Allen trudging alone to the bus, hood up, backpack on, shoulders dropped. Not in anger, not in defiance, just drained. Drained from the demand of absolute perfection. That is why the question Buffalo must answer isn't whether Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl. We know he can. The real question is, can this franchise stop wasting his prime? Because the clock is ticking. The AFC will not stay open forever. Mahomes is returning. Burrow will be return. Jackson isn't going anywhere. A fresh legion of young gunslingers is already ascending. Championship doors rarely slam shut instantly. They creak closed, inch by agonizing inch. Until one frigid winter day you realize the opportunity has evaporated. Josh Allen remains a titan. He sits squarely in his peak, possessing the raw power to haul this franchise into contention on his back. However, trophies are not forged by grit alone. They demand roster depth, structural balance, and a pocket that allows a leader space to operate. Currently, the organization offers him zero safety net. The devastation in his eyes screamed a reality no box score could. The current formula is broken. It is not a lack of talent under center, but the tax of demanding he play Superman every week that is finally robbing the team of the glory they crave. Unless the philosophy shifts, the postseason story in upstate New York is destined for the same bitter finale.